Hey guys, so I have in front of me here a mini kossel kit from Makergeeks.com. When I was originally researching this kit, I was looking around for reviews, unboxing videos, stuff like that, and couldn't really find anything, so I wanted to post a quick unboxing and review in case anybody else is thinking about this kit. I will say that it was probably one of the more expensive versions of this kit, and it did take about 3 weeks to get here. So I'm going to start opening it up and see what it looks like. Have your extrusions here. Seem like they're all in pretty good condition. Seems like everything's packed pretty well. Here are your linear rails with the carriages on them. Looks like they have a little bit of oil on them, probably keeping them from rusting. Seem like they're all in pretty good condition. See how they slide. There's a little bit of resistance there, but they feel nice and tight. Anyways, these are just, I think, some cheap Chinese linear rails. Definitely not the smoothest thing in the world, but I think they'll work for this kit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you can see that on the video, but this one definitely feels a little chunky. Anyways, I'll move on. Okay, so here is the add-on LCD board. Let me just open that up. It's in its anti-static bag, so that's good. There's that. Here are the rest of the extrusions. Okay, so here are the printed parts. They came in blue. You don't get to choose your color when you order, so I'll try and get a close-up of these. Seem like they're pretty good quality. Yeah, definitely not bad. Not the nicest looking things I've ever seen, but I also don't necessarily know what to expect in terms of 3D printed parts. Here's the extruder here. All metal. It looks like the thermistor is just hanging out, so I'll need to punch that back in. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be like that or something that got messed up. Here are the rod ends. They look like pretty nice quality. Some other miscellaneous parts, nuts and bolts. Okay, here are the stepper motors. That's what those look like. Okay, so this is the power supply. I'm not sure if there are more than one. This is a 5 amp power supply. I did get the heated build platform upgrade, so I'm not sure if this is going to cover it. It feels really cheap. But I do have another power supply that I can use. I got some stepper motor wires here. They look like they're reasonably high gauge. And here's the high torque stepper for the extruder. As you can see, it's just a little bit bigger than the others. Here is the ramps board. Little issue with the packaging. Seems like everything is here and intact. Comes with an Arduino Mega. I'm not sure if this is real or a knockoff. I'm not really sure how to tell. And last box here. So far there's no packing list or documentation of any kind. Hopefully this is the build platform. Okay, there's lots of foam peanuts in here. Looks like, yeah, this is a glass build platform. And I assume that bed heater. Clean that up later. Feels like it survived. Okay, this is the PCB bed heater. Pretty cool. And here is the glass. Interesting, the bed heater looks like it's actually packed a little bit better than the glass. It's kind of surprising, but it all made it. So it seems like everything's here and together. Only thing I'm a little disappointed by so far is the power supply, which I'm pretty sure from some of my research I'm pretty sure that's not going to be enough amperage, that it was the only power supply. And one of these rails is definitely not as smooth as I'd like it to be, but they seem like they're pretty rigid, so maybe it'll be okay. Okay, I'll check back in once I've made some progress on building. So it's the beginning of day 2 of my mini kossel build here. As you can see, I've made some progress. Last night I finished the top and bottom of the frame, the extruder here, and I also attached the push rods to the end effector. I did a little bit of looking into these rails, and it turns out basically when they come in, they have a little bit of kind of metal chips in this little groove here, and so you just need to clean that out with like a paper towel or something. That did really well on 2 of these. This third one though is missing a few of the ball bearings, so I think I'm going to just install it as it is for now, but at some point I'm going to need to either try and buy a new carriage or replace the ball bearings or the whole rail or something like that. Let's see, one thing I'm really liking about this kit, you can see these little T-nuts here. So the cool thing about these is they're actually narrow enough that you can, instead of having to feed them into the end of the extrusion, you can actually just slot them in on the top and turn them, and they lock into place. So that's really cool. Anyways, I'm gonna get back to it here and give you an update in a bit. Well, I'm done with the mechanical assembly. Here you can see the end effector and hot end. I don't know if you can see that, but that was how I got that thermistor back in. Just a screw with a washer kind of holding it in lightly. Here are the limit switches at the top, motors down there, and one thing I want to show is that these rod ends are a little bit different than the ones you typically see. Yeah, they seem like they're pretty solid. A few of them are a little loose. If you look at this one, there's a little wiggling, and yeah, you might have noticed this one fell. So, as you can see, the rod end came right out of the rod. So I'm going to glue that. See, I've got my ramps and Arduino board put together. I've got it wired up through this little switch plate that comes with the kit. So pretty nice little switch plate. It's got a USB, a nice looking switch here, and a little plug for that power supply. And also just putting these little crimps on the ends of all the wires. So I'm about halfway through that. Speaking of the power supply, I did a little bit of math. So each one of these steppers down here takes 0.4 amps. So that's 1.2 amps for the 3 of them. The extruder motor here is a 1.2 amp stepper. And I measured the resistance of the heating element in the hot end, and that is a 3.6 ohm heater. So if you take 12 volts over 3.6 ohms, that's 3.3 amps. And all of that adds up to 5.73 amps. And that's not including the heated build platform there. So yeah, I think that power supply is definitely going to be under spec. I'm going to want to use the other one that I have, so that's unfortunate to say the least. Let's see, speaking of the instructions, in my first video I mentioned that there were no instructions that came with the kit. I did, the next morning I emailed Joshua at Makergeeks, and he sent me instructions and firmware. So the instructions are not for this exact kit. They're for a slightly different kit. They're from a website called blomker.com, BLOMKER.com. I don't know if that's familiar to anybody. If anybody knows what that is, I'd be interested to find out. But yeah, the kit is mostly the same, except for a couple differences. One of the differences is that in the instructions, the glass platform actually it goes all the way out to these little screws here, but this one is a little bit smaller and it kind of slides around. So obviously that's going to be a problem when I'm trying to print on it. I don't know what the solution to that is. I guess I'll have to tape it down for the moment and maybe print some better tabs here. Another difference between the instructions that I was sent and this kit is this extruder. So the instructions show a different kind of extruder, but he sent me a separate document with instructions for this extruder, and one of the things that's in that document is that this extruder assembly actually has a third piece in it, which is a bracket that holds it to the frame. And I've been looking at this wondering how it's supposed to be attached to the frame, and there's actually a third piece to this that I didn't get, so it's not in the kit. This morning I emailed Joshua about the missing bracket, and also about one of the slide rail that had the missing ball bearings. His response was that he would look into it on the bracket, and on the slide he said apply some lithium grease. So you know, that's not gonna fix missing ball bearing, but you know, I guess I'll try it. So anyways, I'm gonna get to assembling the rest of this, finishing it up, and I'll be back. Hey guys, just a quick update here before I throw in the towel for the night. I've got all the electronics hooked up, and I got the firmware load and everything, and printer face is hooked up, and I can home everything, which I'll do now. So that's all good, but you'll notice here these rod ends, both of them, have come loose. So I wanted to show you a little bit closer look. Maybe you can see they're these rod ends are actually not the right size to fit into these carbon push rods, and they have something wrapped around them. It almost looks like thread. I think that's what it is. It's thread, and then some kind of glue, obviously not very good glue, is holding them in. So yeah, definitely disappointed with how these are turning out. I think eventually I'm going to have to take all of them out and re-epoxy them up, or just order new rod ends from somebody else. So anyways, I'll have another update tomorrow. Well, here it is, the completed mini kossel kit. So this is my third test print, my third little calibration cube. I think it's turned out pretty well here, given that it's only the third one. This is ABS. I didn't have any PLA. Here you can see the new tabs that I printed out to hold the bed in. I actually printed these at my local makerspace. So that was, you know, not too big a deal, but certainly an inconvenience. Anyways, here it is. I don't have a box for the electronics yet, so they're kind of sitting in that cardboard box. But yep, it's all there. It all works. It took me just about 5 days to build. So before I wrap it up here, I just wanted to go over some of the pros and cons of the kit. So as far as pros, obviously the biggest thing is it's here and it works. You know, in a reasonably quick time, it did a pretty nice print. So in that sense, I'm happy. Another big pro is this end effector design here. I don't know if I've showed this really that well, but I really like this design. It's normally on a mini kossel kit you have like a little Allen key that is the bed probe, and it kind of flicks out and is spring loaded. But this has the switch kind of integrated into the end effector here. So I really like that design. I think that's really nice. That's a lot cleaner, I think. So I'm a big fan of that. As far as cons go, I think the biggest thing for me is that 5-amp power supply that I got. You know, really, it just was never going to cut it, and I think it was just something that was thrown in the kit just to say it had a power supply. But yeah, I tried to use it. It turned on, but as soon as you turned on the extruder, the power light flickered and it was switching on and off. So yeah, it was never going to work, especially with the heated bed, which is going to draw an additional 10 amps by itself. So, but I did contact Joshua from Makergeeks, and he did offer to send me out a new upgraded power supply. So, yeah, and then let's see. The other thing was the bed, and especially the heated bed upgrade. So this is my heated bed here. It's the PCB type bed heater, and you'll notice this has no temperature sensor of any kind on it, and this is all I got for my $65 heated bed upgrade. You know, and maybe that's what this costs, in which case I would have gladly paid extra to have the sensor, but now I don't have the sensor and it's worthless. So yeah, I don't know. I don't understand why you wouldn't just include the sensor. If it costs more, it costs more. You know, that's fine. But as it is, it's useless to me. Finally, there was the missing part. I still haven't heard back from him on that. He said he'd look into it, but that's kind of the last I heard. Also, the missing ball bearings in the linear rail. It seems to work fine as it is, but you know, I would have been happier if it had all the balls in it. But what are you gonna do? And finally, the push rods. In total now I've had 4 where the ends have fallen out. And you know, now I'm not sure if more are gonna fall out. You know, is one gonna break in the middle of a print? Who knows? So yeah, that's I don't know if I'm gonna be better off switching to the other kind, the Traxxas rod ends. I don't know if those are any better, but it's something I might consider. The other thing with these rod ends is if I get in right here, you'll notice these have just a little bit of play in them. Some of them do, not all of them, but it's enough that there's a little bit of play in the hot end there. But it, you know, it seems okay. The print quality is pretty good. So that's it. I hope this review has been helpful to you if you're considering this kit. Thank you very much.